Hello, and welcome back to Season 7, Episode 2 of Sports Talk. I'm your host, Tyler Steinberg.
And I'm Jake Mano, a.k.a. the Better Mano.
You do know that your brother graduated months ago, right?
Yeah, but it's only fair I remind him time to time.
Anyways, we have a lot to talk about on this episode of Sports Talk, including the Mepham Football team, the NFL trade deadline, and more. So I highly recommend that you stick around to the end because you just never know what to expect.
That's right, Tyler. The football team fell just short in the Nassau Conference 2 champion last year versus Garden City and had high expectations coming into this season. But the biggest question for this team was how would they rebound, especially after losing many starters.
Those Pirates, 1 year later, finished the season 2-6, just barely making the playoffs as the 8th seed, playing well. Who else but Garden City?
So in honor of the playoffs approaching in high school football, we decided to take a look back at everything that went down this season. So Tyler, what do you really think went particularly well, and maybe what didn't go well for the Pirates this season?
Yeah, I think, of course, one of their highlights for the season has been their defense. Their defense has been relatively strong, right? I had a chance to sit down with Coach Moody, actually. He talked about, he loves the fact that, like, of course you see all these coaches, they have a scheme. Moody doesn't really have that scheme, right? He can run a lot of different things. He can change it up all the time. He, a lot of the times, like to put the safety in the box to send a lot of guys. Sometimes, hey, you never know. Let's just send 4 defensive linemen. Let's get some pressure on the quarterback, but we'll really focus at dropping guys back in coverage. So I like how there's not really a set in stone type of scheme for them, right? So if you're looking at an offense, right, you want to watch tape, and you want to see what this defense does well, you can't really get kind of any sort of catch on it. So that's the thing I like about their defense. Of course, you talk about the struggles on offense. The quarterback situation has been something interesting. Kevin White and Owen Heller have been battling for that starting spot ever since the season started. So that's something that definitely have to get ready and figure out at least a little bit, of course, before they head this Friday to play Garden City. So I'm definitely interested to see what happens with that.
I mean, definitely, I like how you talked about their defense. I think one of the things I like most about this team is they're really, really good at making their opponent feel so uncomfortable, whether that's in the pocket, in the running game, but just anything that the opponent is good at. Mepham does such an amazing job of just making them go out of their comfort zones, and they're going to say, maybe you'll beat us, but we're going to make you beat me in ways that you have never done before. You are not going to beat us the way that you've just beat any other team. We are ready for you, and we are going to do everything in our power to just be ready, be prepared, and say we are the better team. Whether who comes out of this game with the win, we are going to be the more prepared team.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And we take a look at the way that these Pirates started. They started off 2-1, and then it's been a 5-game losing skid ever since, right? They had that win against Herrickson Calhoun. They started off the season 2-1. It was a great start, and then you had a lot of close losses. A 12-7 loss against Elmont, then you have a 20-13 loss against Manhasset, a 22-15 loss against New Hyde Park, and then that last one that always hurts, that 24-19 loss to MacArthur. So they've had a lot of things that haven't quite went their way, but they definitely have an opportunity here in the playoffs. And even though we know that the Garden City team is really strong, they got an opportunity to maybe make some noise.
I mean, definitely, that's one of the most anticipated matches. I mean, you saw it in the conference championship last year. That was probably one of the most anticipated matchups with Dom Novello at the quarterback. Now you have a little bit of quarterback controversy here now. So I'm really excited to see how that goes because you have a strong running game and some very strong receivers. You have Kieran Kehoe, who sometimes goes out there. Stephen Mulqueen, who has been highlighted last year for his incredible season as a junior and as a senior now. So you have a lot of firepower on this offense. So I'm really excited to see how Moody and the rest of the boys come out for this playoffs.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. But, you know, the football season is personally one of my favorite sports that Mepham has to offer due to how the community just unites with one common goal, a win.
Yes, I love a good win on Saturday. It kind of sets the mood for the rest of the weekend. Don't you agree?
Couldn't have said it better myself.
On that note, let's see what the football team has to say on this month's episode of Mic'd Up.
I saw your outfit for Barbie and Ken Day. It looked like a normal outfit you'd wear. Nice.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, you were supposed to say something like funny, not be a...
Say something?
I like pineapples. Ooh, you heard it here, folks.
Oh my god, I love Team Screen!
What are we doing, Team Screen?
75, Moody! Oh yeah!
I got that, yo. Switch! You do dress like Ken. Kind of look like him, too.
I'm tired.
Dumb people piss me off.
Where have you been?
I actually can't stand. Where have you been? If they see me and they trying to know what's up. Ski.
You know, this team might get my vote for the funniest players by year's end.
I wouldn't expect anything less from the boys.
I gotta give it to number 76. He's got quite the personality.
I guess you could put it that way. The football team I'm getting word that number 76 is Dylan Honerkamp, and Mel Arcos had a chance to sit down with him on this month's The View. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it is. So without further ado, Mel, the floor is yours.
Thanks, guys. Today I'm here with Dylan Honerkamp, who is one of the seniors on our varsity football team. How are you today, Dylan?
I'm doing good.
So, even though playoffs are right around the corner, can you tell me a little bit how the season's been going so far?
I mean, the season hasn't panned out exactly how we thought it would be, but I feel like we're starting to come together as a team, and we're starting to like bond more together, even though it's a little late in the season. But I feel like right now it's going pretty good.
I'm so glad that's the case. Do you have a favorite moment in the season so far?
I think the favorite moment had to be the locker room after we had a comeback against Calhoun, because there's no way we lose to Calhoun.
Yeah, that was a good win. So if you could play any other position other than linebacker, which one would it be?
Tight end. Tight end. Throw me the ball. Let me get up there. That's just how it's going to be.
All right, and what is your favorite locker room song after a win?
It's got to be Needed by the Migos. That's been our song all year. It's been we've been playing pre-game, after game, and it gets everyone hyped, so it's got to be Needed by Migos.
That's a good choice. So what are you going to miss most about Mepham football?
The kids, bro, because we're a family. We're not just teammates. We're a family. We go out together on Saturdays, Fridays. We eat together on Fridays, and we spend like almost every day for like 3 months together, including the summer too. We're definitely a family, so I'm gonna miss all my friends on the team.
Oh, that's really nice. So thank you for being on the show today with me, Dylan, and that's all for me. I'm Melanie Arcos. Back to you, Tyler.
Thanks, Mel. Hey, Tyler. All this talk about football makes me wonder, what would high school sports look like if they could trade for better players from different schools?
You know what? That might be the most blasphemous thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
Come on, it wasn't that bad, was it?
You're right. It wasn't that bad. It was terrible. But speaking of trades, what do you say we talk about the NFL trade deadline?
Yeah, sure. We have a lot of big moves. I want to specifically highlight Montez Sweat to the Bears and Chase Young to the Niners. I mean, the Niners being my Super Bowl favorites, you just made that scary, scary defense of Javon Hargrave and Nick Bosa on that side. You made that D-line just that much scarier in a top 10 overall pick. Those Ohio State brothers are going to be back. They're going to be stronger than ever. And I'm expecting to see already 8.5 sacks on the season for Chase Young. I'm expecting those numbers to skyrocket. Maybe he can even end it in the top 3 for sacks at the end of the season. But you just see every single team is going to double team Nick Bosa. Then they're going to say, what if we try to run? You have Javon Hargrave up the middle. And then that's already 4 or 5 offensive linemen down. What do you do about Chase Young on the right side? There's no stopping this team, especially in the pass game now. You have Fred Warner up in the middle. There's really nothing you can do. And in this number 1 defense in the league, in probably the most feared defense we've seen since the 2015 Seahawks, that's just that much scarier. That's going to be a defense that any single team, if you see the 49ers on your schedule, on that calendar, that's going to be a team you circle in bright red.
Yeah, that's right. And I also thought it was very interesting, too. I mean, Chase Young, you remember back in the old days, right? There was a battle for him, right, for that second pick. Teams would kill for that second pick. And now you send him away for a third-round pick. Definitely interesting. I also want to highlight here as well, what do you think about Joshua Dobbs coming into Minnesota Vikings, right? They just lost Kirk Cousins for the season. That's a big loss for a team that we thought originally might say, hey, let's trade some of these guys at the deadline. They decide not to. They've been on a win streak as of late. They have their new starting quarterback. So that's going to be very interesting. How do you think that plays a role for the Vikings this season?
I mean, obviously Joshua Dobbs came in for the injured Kyler Murray from the start of the season. He's looked a lot better than I think most of us expected. He was able to, have, 30 points against the Giants. He had a great performance to start the season. Obviously, he's been slowing down as of late, but I think coming into the Vikings with an injured Kirk Cousins is going to play a huge role because with the injured Justin Jefferson, obviously Jordan Addison has broken out, and I think that momentum is really going to carry over because with the unexperienced Joshua Dobbs in that Viking system, I think he's going to find Jordan Addison on that outside, and I think he's going to cling to him even more than Kirk Cousins did.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And then one last trade that I want to talk about as well, Leonard Williams to Seattle. That was a big one. Of course, Seattle, we knew that they needed some sort of interior defensive lineman. So you get a guy that is 30. He has been playing very well, but he is 30. He's on an expiring deal. And the Giants, what do you think about them being able to get not only just a second-round pick, which that's more than what, of course, that Washington got for either of their edge rushers, and they also got a fifth-round pick. What do you think about that move?
I mean, I think that's a fantastic move from the Giants. I mean, the Seahawks attempted to reunite the Jamal Adams and Leonard Williams from those Jets days. Leonard Williams, number 99, coming off the end, you cannot say anything bad about his game. I loved watching him as a Giants fan. I think he was incredible. He was incredible at forcing pressure. Maybe the numbers didn't say it as much, but the amount of just pressure and the amount of times he made the opposing quarterback uncomfortable, you cannot count. I mean, he was an incredible part of that defense, taking a lot of the attention away from Kayvon Thibodeau. So I think that's going to be a great addition to the Seahawks defense, giving their explosive offense a little bit of pressure off their shoulders, saying, you know what, maybe if I don't perform one game, that defense is going to be able to get some of the stops that I needed.
I agree with you there. And, it's been another 8 weeks and another busy trade deadline.
You're absolutely correct. Several game-changing decisions have been made in the league, and only time will tell which teams improve their chances of winning a Super Bowl and which teams might come to regret their choices.
Now that we got the trade deadline out of the way, do you know what time it is?
Of course I do, Tyler. Sorry, I don't know what time it is, Tyler. What time is it?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's time for the B&B Play of the Month, where we show you the best clip that our cameras were able to capture.
Able to hit it back now. Once again, I said it already, I'll say it again, a back-forth game here. A nice set. Steinberg trying to pull it away. A save almost off the ceiling. You can see Ryan Planton trying to get the save there, trying to dive on the floor. But after a long point, Tyler Steinberg able to kill and put it away.
That was very impressive by both teams. That was a great rally. But I think that...
Volleyball gets the Player of the Month 2 times in a row.
Well, when you get the amount of teamwork that went into that play, it's only right that we give it the recognition it deserves. And, when that number 15 kid's on the court, something good is just bound to happen.
That's all that we have for you on this month's episode of Sports Talk. I'm Jake Mano.
And I've been Tyler Steinberg, and we'll see you all next month.